was nice, the party was pumping. And everybody having a ball.
And welcome to Big Blue Breakdown. I'm the host, Michael Buckeister, today, and I'm here with always is Matthew Lyle. Matthew, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. It's finally glad to get to some Kentucky sports. Got our football coming up. Got our dose of basketball last week. What a time to be alive, Mike.
Hey, it's a great time to be alive. Chris Hill's in here today. How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing good, Mike. How we doing?
Oh, man, you know, it's football season still.
That's right. Living the dream a day at a time. Right?
So, anyways, Kentucky basketball. They went 4-0 at the Bahamas.
Saw it coming.
They dominated at the Bahamas.
Yes, they did.
I believe. Who was that pink team? Was that the Bahama national team?
I don't think it was the Bahamas. No, it wasn't Bahamas.
Well, whoever that pink team was, they were beating them like 45-9 at one point.
Was that the team with the goofy name that we couldn't pronounce?
It was a team that was sponsored. Mike over here would get me with his low internet connection, so I can't pull up exactly who we faced.
Well, you got Wi-Fi, and it's a couple hundred feet away. So.
Oh, we got Wi-Fi in here.
Wi-Fi, yeah.
Okay, we're moving up in the world, huh?
Password is a heavy pair 821.
It would be.
I would have believed it if he'd have said 812.
It would be.
That's the
area
code here, yeah. But no, it's seriously it's heavy pair 821. Whoever's in the area can definitely jump on. So, anyways,
Clearly.
the Bahama National or the Bahama tournament is. I guess it wasn't a tournament. It was
not a tournament.
It was just a little 4-game series.
If anything, it was just
it was just a little 4-game series. But they dominated.
They did, yeah.
As expected, leading the way in points. It looks like it was Travis or it was Reed Travis. He had a. I'm sorry.
Our hero led the way in points.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Travis Reed led it in minutes. He had 111 minutes with it looks like 43 points here. Tyler Hero had 69 points, averaging 17 points a game. Matthew, just what are your thoughts on that? Does this make you more excited for the season, or?
Well, I think you do get excited, but from my understanding of just kind of looking into it and then hearing some other reporting on that game, I believe both those teams all four of those teams were equivalent to a mid-tier SEC. So it gives me confidence that we're going to. I think the most hype and the most confidence that I have comes from the fact that it's so early.
Right.
If this was our best, I wouldn't be very thrilled. But seeing by the fact that we're early, we're still 2 months away from our first actual game. I'm very excited, and I think we're going to come together. I see everything. I see our defense that you love to see. I've seen some struggles on defense, but the thing that made me the most excited, and I don't know if we've really had this underneath Cal, was some scoring. Mm-hmm. To see that even when the first game, when we were not shooting well, we still put up 80-plus points. That one really excited me to know that even shooting horribly, we found a way to score, and the next night, the ball was able to find some 3-point shooting, right. And then that third game is the one I think we hit 100 on. Yep. So that was something that it really made me excited for what could come as that Duke game approaches.
Absolutely, man. This Hero kid. I mean, we knew he was going to be good, but he can shoot. He can shoot really well. I think he's going to be our 3-ball shooter. I kind of was a little disappointed that it took Reed Travis. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, Reed Travis.
Yeah.
Okay. It took him a couple games to kind of.
Well, my thought on Reed Travis is you got to remember this kid. I looked at some Stanford games. Now, you take out any road game and you take out any game that was at a neutral site, any tournament style game. Those Stanford games only held about 2,000 or 3,000 people. I don't know if he's ever played an atmosphere of what he's going to feel here at Big Blue Nation.
Oh no.
And okay, I was a little surprised by his inability to shoot that close. But the first game, he had 14 rebounds. Mm-hmm. Second game, I think he had 7. if everything else plays in line, we won't need him to score.
Absolutely.
We're going to need him to help us against
Kentucky
Tennessee and some of these
They lost 3 of the
teams
top
that
4
have these
scores
big
to the
teams.
draft, 26
That's where he's
wins.
going to come in handy. So the fact
Last
that he
year,
missed
they
a
start
couple of
year
shots,
number 10 of the John
I'm not real
Calipari
concerned
era.
about it
And
as
by
long
the
as
way,
Hero
Kentucky fans
and
thrilled to
Quade
finally
and
see
everyone else was
black
doing what they were doing on the
uniforms.
offensive end.
Rock those here for the first game, and the first shot for Keldon Johnson finds the bottom of the hoop. North Carolina a few years ago. We know we may not have a great matchup. We just want to come out and have fun. Washington, Richards, Kentucky's off to Washington.
I think we got a lot of holes on the
Instead of a bunch of guys put together by the Bahamas.
I sat down with these freshmen today. The first thing they told me is they were excited.
We're going to put up a lot of points.
We don't block them out.
It took you 3 minutes. You just couldn't help.
That old adage, it's not who starts,
on
who
defense.
finishes.
Higgins and quickly brings some
He
spark.
came in.
But they will be shooting free throws.
But,
Washington down there.
I
He's
think
improved his ability
Higgins'
to shoot
quickness
the ball to free basketball game,
can lead to
and,
some turnovers.
I just like his versatility.
I want to
Sorry,
see if Nick
different on
Richards
radio,
is
but,
going to pan.
you know,
If the Nick
I
Richards we
appreciate
saw,
what you were just leading to, Seth.
Yeah, I mean, the first game he looked really well.
I think he only missed 4 shots the entire time
Here's
he was down
Richards from the baseline.
For the whole 4 games, he was 16 of 20 from the
There's
field
some
goals.
short shorts right there. Jump hook.
So
Wow.
he missed 4
I'm not
shots.
sure they would
per
have looked
game.
for him last.
So,
23.
I mean,
Ashton Higgins
that's
is on the
definitely
floor
really
as well. He
positive
comes away with
for
a rip.
UK
Here's Hero.
basketball.
Tyler Hero.
My
from
biggest
Milwaukee have room for
takeaway
him
of
by
that
cutting out
was,
a high school kid who had a scholarship to
it's
that
just the
place.
offensive
So it's
glass.
going to affect too.
Like Reed Travis was the only one
but
that
at the
really
end of
wanted
the
to
day,
go get the
hey, look,
basketball.
It's great. I do not think it'll
I mean, just look at
impact
the
a whole
stats
lot
here.
of people.
He had 12 offensive.
I was going to say that dude made that jump, and his place was going to go crazy.
DJ Montgomery knocks, so is it there we're
So,
put him in some
basically
stuff
what's
and he
gonna
didn't know how to
happen
come
is
off. The other
If he's
reason
not
guy
on the
can
field,
really
like,
shoot
or
that
like
way.
not on the
The
court,
other reason is
are you
he's not
gonna
good shooter.
take chance shots.
Richards doing the dirty work inside. I got
though
it for
the talent
13.
of
And
Who we are, what
wasn't
guys
some
are
of the
doing
teams
what
we're gonna
that he
face.
thinks
Wasn't
is important for them to be
teams we're gonna
successful.
face.
Higgins can
One
really
thing I
cover.
think Cal really wanted to
Ridgewater
show
gave it to him.
Paglia.
Oh, he's like the greatest player in the history of
and
WAC.
with that
really
comes
shoot it.
rebound.
Yeah. Is he in your
So
glossary?
the fact that we were able to rebound fairly
Paglia
decent
played for.
against
Hero
grown
Let's
men.
think about the good times.
There's going to be a 3 coming up here for
in
Hero.
college, especially
He's
at the college
dying.
level.
He's itchy.
You don't
can
have
tell
to
he was
be
itchy to shoot.
a
8
lottery
40-point
pick or even
games.
a first round
You can
draft
just-
pick
And
to be an
Travis,
outstanding
a little
rebounder.
hand-
You just had to have strength and will. And I think that's what a lot of these grown men that we played had. Strength and will. Yeah, we didn't play anybody that would start on an NBA roster. We didn't play many first-round picks, if any, against that. But we did play against grown men. And I think that holds something special that we were able to get out there and muscle. So, yeah, we may play players that have, like Duke, for example, they may have better players at certain positions. R.J. Barrett may be a better player than anyone we have, but I don't know if we're going to play anyone that's going to out-muscle us and out-will us or at least intimidate us, which it kind of goes back to those first 5 years of Cal being here,
Right.
opposed to some of the other teams we had that we looked a little meek at times.
Right.
Well, and just speaking of of Duke, Zion is the only person that I can think of that might outpower us down low.
Well, the fact is, he's 6'6". He is big. So where do you play him? If you play him at the 3, yeah, he could do some damage to whoever's guarding him. But on the other end, it's going to be to see Zion Williams try to go out and guard Tyler Hero, or try to go out and guard Keldon Johnson,
Or even Higgins.
I don't know if you'd ever see Higgins at the 3. I think they might put like a quad there if they go super small. It's going to be a nightmare. Do you put him at the 4? Then I don't think he can get down there and bang with P.J. Washington.
Yeah,
I don't think he can really compete. Now he is. I would say he's much more athletic than Reed Travis, so he might be able to get up there and compete. But you having him either A, out on the wing versus Keldon and Tyler Hero, or B, you have him on the post with P.J. Washington, I would take those.
So you would take PJ over Zion,
Yeah.
hands out.
Yeah, well, because I mean, like I said, Zion's only 6'6",
And then
6'7" or something like that at max.
So let's say Nick, so let's say that Nick is in the game. Do you think Nick and Zion match up well?
I think Nick just has too much of a height advantage. I mean, now we're getting to probably 6 inches of difference, and Nick Richards can get up there. And if he's developed that little bit of a shot that he's had, now you're drawing him out.
I love it, man. I do. I love when guys get rewarded.
I'll be honest with you. I know that there's a lot of talk on Zion Williams being a big man. If they play him at the 5, which, I don't follow Duke basketball much, but if they play him at the 5, that's not going to bode well for them.
He is very athletic. Like I did see I believe it was an Instagram post when he did that Michael Jordan dunk.
He just did it yesterday. He dunked from the free throw line.
It just like you have to have him on on the court, whether it's a 3, 4, or 5.
But
Duke doesn't have a chance against us.
People don't understand. People look at how he shot in high school. Hey, I'm not really hyped about who he played against in high school.
No,
but
I don't think he played anybody in the top 10 high
not
schools.
Until he got into some AAU settings, and he shot really good from the floor. But if you look deeper, he didn't shoot he only shot 25% for his high school career from 3-point line. Now, I don't have the exact numbers to see what he shot outside of the paint, but yet inside of the 3-point line, because I know he did shoot very well. I think he was up in the 70% from his career from inside the 3-point line. But when you're dunking on everybody, naturally, I wouldn't be surprised if he shot like 40% or 50% from outside of the paint and then 90% from inside the paint.
Every game I saw of him on ESPN in high school, I don't think he missed a shot. Honestly,
I know a lot of Duke fans. They're getting hyped. They're sharing around this video of Zion hitting a 3-pointer, 1 3-pointer. There's a video of Shaq doing that. That doesn't make Shaq a 3-point shooter. Which could you imagine Shaq shooting threes?
Oh, no.
Shaq can't shoot a fucking foul shot.
Yeah, he can't even shoot a free throw. That would be like having to watch Charles Barkley play fucking 18 holes of golf. Who wants to do that?
I do.
I don't.
It would be hilarious.
I don't.
Well, I guess we should warn, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like we are getting off the chain with some of that language over there.
Yeah,
Won't be able to share this one very much.
That's all right. Be all right. One, I'll beep it out.
Now, do you think...
I need you to beep his out, too, before I get around sharing that one.
Oh, my bad. Sorry, virgin ears in here.
Beep.
Beep. Now, do you think that P.J. Washington that played first game, do you think he'll show up at all like that this season?
I do.
You think that was
a
preview of things to come?
I do. Now, is he going to start? Is that 3-point shot going to be very consistent? I don't. That mid-range jumper, that one's a question mark. But down low, I do think we're going to see that. I think we're going to see that PJ quite often.
Do you see Tyler being our three ball shooter?
Oh, absolutely, without a doubt.
Without a doubt.
That was our biggest downfall last year. It was the outside game.
It was atrocious.
And
that's really been Cal's thing over the time.
Right.
Is that Cal, or not Cal? I wouldn't blame it on Cal, but we even that championship game in 2012 wasn't a very well shooting team. Deron Lamb could do some things, and Marcus Teague could do some things, but it wasn't. We haven't had a prolific offense in a while.
So the question comes to you, Chris. Who is your standout player? This is going to be our guy this year. Who do you think is – so say we're down 2 points, or just say 8 point, 10 seconds left. Who do you want on the court? Who do you want the ball?
Tyler Hero.
It's got to be Tyler.
Tyler Hero.
Oh, yeah,
got to be Tyler Hero.
Now,
I wouldn't mind Quade being in there.
I would say Quade. Either him or Tyler. I'd want him or Tyler to have.
How much did you say? How much time did you say is left in the game?
So it's like we have the ball for a final shot. So we have a full shot clock, full 30 seconds or whatever.
I would go with Quade at point. I would go with Hero at the 2. I would go Keldon at the 3, considering that how much are we down, Mike? I'm really
1 point.
We're down 1 point.
Yeah, one point.
Super theoretical.
Then I'm going Quade because he can score from anywhere. Mm-hmm. Tyler Hero can score from anywhere. Keldon can score from probably almost anywhere. And then give me PJ Washington for a putback, right, and Reed Travis for his age and his rebound ability. Because say we get a shot off pretty early in the shot clock, and we're able, I definitely want that chance to get that rebound back. Now, that could change. If Nick Richards comes up to be what he could be, that could change it a little bit. But as of right now, if that game was happening right this second, that's what I want. I want Quade, Hero, Johnson, Washington, and Travis.
So, who do you think was the best starting five out there? Or who would you have a starting five wise?
Tyler's got to be.
See, I posted something different to some of the Kentucky pages, and I did catch a little flack. I think your rotation, I think you have, as of right now, as of this second, I have Hagans at point because for the most part, the consensus has been he is the better point guard out of him and Quickly. I have Quade at the 2 because he brings you leadership. You know, you kind of want to. I think with these sophomores, especially under the expectation that Cal has set,
Like Shea Gilgeous
you
Alexander,
almost have to let them know,
long and
hey,
skinny.
I trust in you
Manuel
early
quick.
for coming back. I'm not going to forget about you behind these freshmen. So I think you start Quade at the 2. You start Keldon Johnson, who can do anything, at the 3. P.J. Washington, because he's a monster, at the 4. Nick Richards at the 5. I mean, he started Nick Richards every game last year and still took him out after 2 minutes. I think he doesn't want to lose Nick Richards' confidence, knowing now what he can do when he is confident. I think Nick Richards stays in at the 5. Your 6th man will be Tyler Hero, coming in on an NBA-style scorer, coming in and just shooting. In my opinion, your hopes for Nick Richards, or not Nick Richards, for Tyler Hero, is that when you come out of a TV timeout and you're tied, that when you put Tyler Hero in and you go back to TV timeout, you're up 8.
Right.
I think after that you go Reed Travis. Reed Travis he doesn't need to start. He's a 5th-year senior. I think he's mature enough to know his role in an organization. He could come in and really physical somebody. I think we're going to stay away from the platoon, and rightfully so. But you got that good starting lineup, and then you put Reed Travis in to start beating some guys up who's already fatigued.
Right.
I really like that.
And just catching rebound after rebound.
Exactly.
After rebound.
I think kind of going through that, you got to go E.J. Manuel, even though he was hurt for this. No, I'm sorry, not E.J. Manuel. I'm thinking quarterback. E.J. Montgomery.
Yeah, he had back issues or back
He had some
spasms.
back issues, and I think that cost him some spots. But I put some faith in those recruiting rankings. I think he's got a lot to show, especially on the offensive end. As of right now, I don't think you would give him a lot of clock.
Right.
But I think you're going to put him in there just to keep being big and physical. Emmanuel Quickly, and it's so crazy. I have him listed right there at the number 9 guy to come in, but he could easily be the starter. I think that one can flip however the season's going, and so does those guards and forwards.
Shows you the depth of the team.
Exactly. I think Jamal Baker is your 10th guy, obviously, right now because he was out all last year, and he's been out this year. But I think if he can get together, he's going to be a player who's going to come in on some garbage time. But if he makes the most of it, could start seeing that come from – he could start seeing himself come in when they're up 30 and start seeing himself coming in the last 2 minutes and a half.
Yeah.
Just to be – because I think he's going to be such a good shooter that if he can turn that into playing time or he can turn that into some productivity, he can turn that into playing time.
And what exactly did he have surgery on?
Who?
Well, he had a knee injury last year, if
Knee.
I'm not mistaken. I may be way wrong on that.
Baker.
Jamal Baker, yeah.
I don't know.
And
Like,
then I
they're-
think, obviously, Brad and Johnny's going to be your last 2.
Right.
But,
Well, Brad got him some playing time.
Yeah, he finally scored the basketball.
well, I think it's also because so many people was out.
Right.
True.
If Baker was in, I think being Calipari's son, being that he is a fan favorite, I think he would find his way on the court in all those blowouts. But I don't think he would be in there near as early if Baker and Montgomery had dressed and played.
So the real question to you, Chris, is: do you think Nick is in shape this year? Because I think that was Nick Richardson's biggest issue last year was he would play the first 10 minutes and then he'd be tired
Get
for the
super
rest of the game.
fatigued. If
Yeah.
he, I mean, I don't know what his strength and conditioning's like. I don't know anything about that. But I mean, I think
If he wants to be an NBA player, he needs to be in
gonna have
shape.
to-
Period.
absolutely.
Yeah.
He's going to have to. That's something I was getting ready to mention. If he's wanting to get up there on people's draft boards, and things like that, then yeah, his strength and conditioning is absolutely going to be one of the top things that he needs to work on. But if he comes out like he did in that first game, just gangbusters, and if that's how he plays with that level of intensity, and that's how he plays like all year, I think
4 on 2 the other way.
absolutely.
Extra pass and Montgomery finishes. Quite a
I don't think
He's
the
not real
NBA
comfortable
mindset-
scoring in
I think with
traffic.
him coming into his body and Cal has kind of killed the mode. of
Tenth
the
quarter of the
game. because
He's got 10 boards.
the expectations are you.
What do the freshmen say?
Kentucky for 1 year,
Road man,
you
all
put 2
caps.
years, you make a tournament run, a Final Four,
5
maybe win a
o'clock.
ring, and then you go pro. And when guys don't do that, some of these guys are just late to go. I mean, imagine if Anthony Davis didn't have that growth
Tell you what
spurt,
I'm doing. I'm going to be
or
right
had a
in the
growth
middle.
spurt later.
Drill it. Yes, sir. Get in. Get in. All right.
I think he'll be fine. You just got you got to stop putting the guys got to stop putting the media's got to stop it. The
And
guys
that-
got to
yeah,
stop
that's
putting the
another
pressure
thing.
on
That's-
themselves.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, that's
well,
something that I mean, that's like you were saying. You're trying to come in to college ball for a year. That's the perception now. You come into it for a year, play at a place like Kentucky, Duke, Kansas, somewhere like that, and you're only thinking it's going to be for a year and that you're immediately going to get drafted. Well, what happens if that doesn't happen? I mean, you're putting so much pressure on yourself. How do you handle that?
I don't think honestly, I don't think he had the expectation of going to the NBA draft or to the NBA last year period. Because when you're only playing 10 minutes a game, how can you the NBA plays 12-minute quarters? Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're looking at 48-minute game, and in college you're only looking at a 40-minute game. I mean, coming from AAU, I'm sure he played all game. There should be no reason why he was out of shape. Think about it. I mean, I think AAU plays 10-minute quarters, maybe.
Well, I don't think it came from being out of shape and not, as far as his fitness. I think he just couldn't compete. He just didn't
It's
have
a
the
different
motor,
level of intensity.
and he wasn't ready to match what he was.
Right.
I mean, he done fine if he continued to play against the guys he played against in high school.
Well, but at some point you have to grow as a player,
Right.
If you
But
want to
that's-
become an elite player, but you can only be on the court for 2 minutes at a time, 10 minutes total.
But that wasn't
Yeah.
him. That wasn't fatigue.
No, you could tell he was tired.
He just wasn't ready to compete. I mean, it would be like if you played college football. You go from high school to college football. If
Speed's
you might be able to
different.
run
It's-
all day long, but are you going to be able to tackle grown men all day long?
Well,
And that's where I think it changes. So, and I think that goes back to what me and Chris were saying. It's not fair to assume that every human ever is going to be able to go from being a child to a man in essentially 6 months. I don't think that's always a fair. Some guys can.
You're right.
Some guys can come in.
Knox.
Yeah, and even then, he had still, quote unquote, mental moments where
He was 17 years old.
where he would just
half the
stand.
season,
He would
wasn't
just stand
Yeah.
in the corner. Now, I don't believe he was fatigued, tired,
Yeah.
but I think he just didn't know what to do. He just didn't know how to assert himself the right way or be. Not everybody is that guy that comes out and says, "Give me that ball now." And I don't think it's fair to assume that everyone is going to. And I think that's where fans get disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where your quote unquote haters get their material.
Right.
Look at that 2013 team. And everybody says, "Oh, Cal should not be struggling as bad as he was in 13." That 2013 team, it just didn't pan out. Ryan Harrow didn't pan out. Nerlens Noel got hurt. Archie Goodwin and Alex Poitras weren't world beaters as somebody at ESPN or 24/7 Sports had decided. Right. Now, that's not – and I'm not saying they did anything wrong. I'm just saying fans looked at that and said, "Oh, he's got 5 stars next to his name.
He's going to be something.
He's going to be the next something." Yeah.
Right.
And what people need to realize is that Cal is the exception. Cal and even Coach K at certain years are the exception. I can name you more 5-star recruits that haven't panned out than I can guys that have.
Right.
I can name you more 5-star recruits that take 2 or 3 years to develop than 5-star recruits that develop in 6 months. Actually, if you take out Kentucky in 2012 and Duke in 2015, no other team who has had a top 10 recruiting class has won the title that year. Mm-hmm. So that kind of shows you that, you just go look, the Duke team that won in 2010, they were very senior laden. Mm-hmm. They didn't have these one and dones.
Nope.
That UConn team in 2011, they didn't have many one and dones. Louisville in 2013 with a little asterisk next to it.
Doesn't count.
They didn't have many one and dones. They did it with a lot of sophomores.
Yeah, true.
The UConn in 2014 had a lot of juniors. That 2016 North Carolina, or I think it was Villanova at that time. Then 2017 was North Carolina. Those were junior and senior laden teams.
So Matt, let me stop you right there. So are you saying the one and done is not the way to go anymore? Is it time for Cal to move on and we bring in
I think it
a new coach?
So,
I think it depends.
It's never been the way for anybody. Like Cal can do it, and I think Cal just needs to. That's the thing that makes me mad. So I'm going to get on a little bit of a Cal tangent here.
Do it.
You want the box? You want the soapbox?
I already got the soapbox.
No.
So first off, let's start with this with Cal. People say Cal. I hear a lot of Louisville fans, a lot of North Carolina fans, a lot of Duke fans, a lot of these non-Kentucky fans, IU fans especially. I want to see Cal recruit guys that'll stay a while. He has.
He has.
Eric Bledsoe was not in the ESPN top 150 rankings. He became a one and done. Daniel Orton, everyone thought he would stay longer. He didn't.
I'd have thought for sure Nerlens Noel would have stayed for another year.
Oh, no one knew Nerlens Noel. Nerlens Noel was a top 5. I mean, people thought he underachieved. People thought he was going to be the next Anthony Davis.
No.
Like there was never. But
I think that hurt him.
Stacy
more than
Poole Jr., 3-star recruit, got mad over playing time, left. Kyle Wilcher, supposed to be that 4-year guy, couldn't find his rotation, transferred.
Yep.
Willie Cauley-Stein, kid stayed 3 years. Hawkins, Willis, Charles Matthews.
The guy they just transferred, Shai.
Yeah. Shea Alexander.
Yeah.
He was supposed to stay. No, not Alexander. What was his name? He already transferred. I'm out.
Yeah, he was a big man.
Yeah. Sasha Kalea Jones.
Yes, there you go.
Transferred. Even Devin Booker, Trey Lyles. A lot of those guys thought that was going to be 2 or 3 year guys. They just come here and they play better. Now, is it an opportunity of minutes? Yes. But it's also the mentality of, hey, I can't hang around long. So Cal, could you imagine if everything worked out like Cal wanted it to, the dynasty we would be at? A Jody Meeks as a senior, a sophomore Eric Bledsoe, Deron Lamb and Marcus Teague as sophomore/juniors.
John Wall as a sophomore.
Well, no, don't, now you're just dreaming because
or Anthony Davis as a sophomore.
Certain guys that come through, are one and done. John Wall, DeMarcus Cousins,
absolutely.
Brandon Knight, Terrence Jones actually surprised me. Karl Anthony Towns, Anthony Davis, Nerlens Noel, Julius Randle. Those guys are clear one and dones, and Cal recruits them for that purpose. But Cal also recruits guys that are going to come back. But sometimes they do, and they just don't pan out.
Right.
And sometimes they do, and then they transfer. So another thing, people who say Cal can't coach.
Clearly he can.
Well, Cal coaches differently.
Clearly.
Cal coaches for guys. We talked about this, Mike, on another show about college preparing you for the next level. Cal coaches in a way that is going to be successful in the NBA.
From the jump.
And sometimes it doesn't always benefit UK.
Yeah.
Point in example that I will always go to. 2015, hurtful year. We have a 6-point lead on Wisconsin, and we get 2 shot clock violations. Why? Because Cal
They lost 3 of the top 4
offense
scores
is
of the
an
draft.
NBA-heavy offense where you give the point
Last
when
year,
you got a
they start
lead and the clock
year
is
number 10 of
gone.
the John Calipari
You give your
era.
point
And
guard
by
the
the
ball,
way,
and
Kentucky
you let him
fans thrilled to
dribble and
finally
set up
see
isolation.
black uniforms. So
Works
Rock
great.
goes here for the first game, and the first
If you
shot
got
for
Steph
Keldon
Curry.
Johnson finds the bottom of the
Works
rim.
great.
North Carolina a
You
few
got
years
Russell
ago.
Westbrook.
We know we may not have a great matchup. We just want to come out and have fun.
I can go
Watch
down
me.
the
Richard, he's off in
Even if you
Washington.
got guys like Michael Conley, second tier point
Instead of
guard,
a bunch of guys put together.
does
by
it
the
work
Bahamas.
so well with a sophomore Andrew Harrison? If we would have ran a college basketball set the entire game and we ran college basketball defenses, we would probably have 4 national titles, in my opinion, at least. But what would it have done to these kids' future? Or who would it have set back? So I'm not saying it's always the right answer, but me and Mike talked about it previously. These guys, Cal's getting these guys set up. They're going to college with a basketball degree under Cal.
Basically.
And Cal is setting them up properly for it.
They're doing an internship.
Exactly.
Summer internship.
Exactly. And Cal is helping them succeed. And I hear people, when I tell people that, they're like, well, he practices some plays, and I'm sure he does practice them sometimes.
It's raining, boys.
It is
It's
raining
coming
and
down.
storming here.
Did I put my windows? Yes, I did. Put my windows. Now, do you think
kind of freaked me out a little bit?
Do you think Cal could do the same thing with a 4-star recruit that he could do with a walk-on, coaching wise? Do you think he could set up a young man the same way?
I don't know if you'd get the same level of success.
I think it depends on the player. I mean, because like a walk-on player is going to be more coachable than a five-star
somebody
recruit.
that wants it more.
Yeah, like exactly. My wife just texted me and said there's a pretty bad storm headed this way, so it's here.
Well, how good is this the studio you got here, Mike?
Well,
It's fixing to turn into a storm shelter.
if you guys were watching my Facebook Live, me and my daughter were talking about Zozo.
What's a Zozo?
It's a devil woman, basically.
Oh Lord.
No later than an hour later, had a tree fall down and crush the roof. So
Oh wow.
Zozo's here, y'all.
Which part of the roof?
Well, let's hope Zozo's a UK fan.
Over by the stairs.
Oh, great. great.
All right, guys, if this show ends abruptly,
Yeah, I just want y'all to know that we love you.
or you might witness our death.
So
you might.
back to the question.
Yeah, so we need to. This storm caught me completely off guard.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah.
It honestly sounds like it's hailing out there.
Yeah.
Like,
It does, and I don't know if it's just because
I feel
of the
like
tin
it's
roof.
been cooler. It's gotten like 5 degrees
has
cooler.
dropped.
It's crazy.
Now it's supposed to be gone by 8:15, 8:30. So hopefully this is just passing.
Hopefully,
Fingers crossed.
Let's hope.
I'm scared.
But to answer your question there,
I got you, buddy. I'll hold your hand.
to answer your question on that, I think it would take. I don't know if it could be done at Kentucky, and solely based on the fact that I don't know if our fan base. It would take some changing. He would have to change his style, his everything he did, his views, his perception, his contacts in his cell phone. He would have to change literally everything.
So he'd basically have to drop everything else he was doing.
We would have to struggle. We would have to hit hard for a year, and then we would have to have another year where we probably didn't make the tournament, and then a third year to where we were your 8-9 seed. We would have to go back to Tubby Smith for about 3 years.
Or the Gillespie era.
I don't know if we would have to go that bad, but I think you would. Yeah. Okay. Let me put it that way. You'd have to have one Gillespie year, and then about 2 Tubby years. And then I think once he had his system, then he could get you. Then he could get you back. He could be there. I think he's going more of a North Carolina. I think last year told me he's going more of a North Carolina mindset. And I know a lot of Kentucky fans are like, no, not North Carolina.
Wait.
Don't even say that
Wait,
name.
what do you mean by the North Carolina
Well,
mindset?
okay,
He's
so
getting
if you
there.
look at what Roy Williams does at North Carolina, and it proves somewhat successful.
Right.
Because he has won multiple titles here of late. He recruits 4.5-star recruits. 4.5. Like your low-tier 5 stars. Your Kennedy Meeks. Your
The
Justin
coachable
Jacksons.
players that want to
Yeah,
succeed.
your guys that barely are 5 stars.
That have something to prove.
And he keeps them for 3 years.
We recruit players like
So
James
I
Morris.
I think this year, well, he recruited Kennedy
Meeks.
Justin Jackson, Marcus Page stayed 4 years. I think that's what Cal's doing. I think last year was the sacrifice year. He got guys who take away Alexander, who really shot up there and really surprised everybody
In the tournament.
Knox was the only one that you was like, oh, he's definite one and done.
and Vanderbilt.
I thought with the injuries and
You thought Vanderbilt was coming back?
I thought there was a chance. I thought when recruited him because he was undersized. Because sometimes that's the key to getting guys to stay is you get them good, but you get them undersized.
Like, hey, man, I need you to pack on about 20 more pounds.
Yeah, or like example, I thought Tyler Eulis was going to be a 4-year player. And so I think what Cal's done, and if you look at mock drafts this year, let's say for example last year was the base year. Let's say this year we win the title. There's a good chance we're bringing back. You're just looking at every kind of layer. You're bringing back probably quickly, like you're probably using Higgins. You're probably losing Quade.
Probably losing
You're
Tyler.
probably losing Keldon. You're probably losing PJ. You're probably losing Nick Richards. So you lost your starters.
And you're for sure losing Travis.
Well, Travis definitely has to go. Hero might return though.
You think?
I'm just saying he might.
Barring an injury, I don't
Quickly might return. Baker might return. But I'd say Baker's probably a good set to return. Montgomery's probably gone. But either way, I mean, I know that does sound bad. I just told you 6 guys were leaving.
How about Ashton Hagen? Do you think he's?
I think Hagens would be. But there's a chance that Quickly could come back. There's a chance you got Baker and Hero. You already got a very experienced backcourt building with what Cal does. But Cal also, I don't know. So I think he's trying to get more to that North Carolina mindset. I know people are going to hate to say that, but
like with that new rule, does the new NBA rule take effect this year, or is that next year?
I want to say
they're talking it's not even going to go into effect until 2020.
Yeah, 2020.
Okay, so it's next basketball season.
Could be,
Basically.
yes.
That rule alone could make us into a North Carolina because say we have those 9-10 guys go into the NBA draft, 2 of them get picked up. Those 8 guys are coming back to school. So by default, you are doing what North Carolina is doing, and by default, that makes North Carolina crap.
Honestly, man, as a fan, I hate the one and done. I hate it. As
Why?
a fan, I
Why?
hate it.
Why?
I mean, I would like to see some of these guys stay on for a couple more years, and the talent that we have coming in behind them, watch these dudes play and see what they can do.
But that's
I mean,
another thing. See, that's something.
But that would hurt recruiting.
But I don't. Yeah, I'm about to say. I think that's something a lot of Kentucky fans don't realize.
We wouldn't be getting knocked.
Those elite
You don't
recruits.
We wouldn't get
if John
Vanderbilt.
Wall comes back for his sophomore year, you don't get to have Brandon Knight be his backup.
Right.
Like you don't. And I know everybody would rather have a sophomore Wall than a freshman Brandon Knight. But that just goes. Like if one
He
guy
wants to play now, so he's going to go somewhere else.
If James Young doesn't become a one and done, Devin Booker may not come here.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? I don't know everyone. A conversation that I was having, and I guess it's kind of not really a pro Kentucky conversation, but I would be curious. As just a sports fan, what does the landscape of college basketball look like?
That's exactly what I was going to ask you.
If Kentucky never exists, if Calipari never comes to Kentucky,
right,
and Kentucky does what it's been doing for the last 20 years or 10 years at least, getting your mid-tier local kids. So, for example,
let me answer that question. They would be the Kansas State. They would be an average team.
Mm-hmm.
One year they shoot up to the Elite 8,
with
maybe
homegrown talent,
make it to the Final Four. But I'm a Kansas State fan, and we're happy to make it to the tournament.
Well, my question is, who's dominant? And so, for example, I'm just going to go through some guys because I'd kind of considered this. I think John Wall goes to North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
I think DeMarcus Cousins goes to UAB, so he really doesn't have an impact. Brandon Knight goes to Florida. Anthony Davis probably goes to Kansas with a team that already made it to the championship game. If Nerlens Noel goes to Syracuse, which a lot of people thought he could, that's the Syracuse team that made the Final Four and lost to Louisville.
Mm-hmm.
Give them a healthy Nerlens. I know that a lot of people aren't thinking about that because that means our precious Kentucky isn't up there.
Right.
But, I find it interesting.
Right.
A lot of these guys, Archie Goodwin probably goes to Arkansas.
So,
Alex Poythress goes to Tennessee.
So
Memphis.
let me pile on this. So with the new NBA rule, or is it an NBA rule, or is it just
it's college.
It's
the
college.
NBA has nothing in this right now.
Yeah.
And that's why it could take so long is because since certain parts of it do pertain to the NBA, you almost have to get it collectively bargained agreed
Okay,
upon.
well, I believe the rule has been passed. Once you go into the NBA draft, if you don't get drafted in the first few rounds, you can go back to school.
Mm-hmm.
So what does that do to schools like Kentucky that pride themselves on the one and done?
So Kentucky, I don't think has much of a impact because the guys that I was thinking about this the other day. The guys that we've lost who haven't been drafted probably wouldn't come back anyway.
Right.
Gabriel wasn't coming back. He needed the money. Briscoe wasn't coming back because he was tired of being behind all the guards. The Harrison twin wasn't coming back, especially with his other brother getting drafted.
Okay, so it may not affect those players, but it's going to affect other schools. It's going to make them more appealing. Why do I want to come to Kentucky and freeze my butt off all all winter when I can play at Florida, do the same thing, be in 90 degrees all year around, go to the NBA
it's
draft
Kentucky,
and then come back.
man.
Because Kentucky doesn't pander to the undrafted
That's right.
mentality.
That's right.
Kentucky panders to the guys that's going to be drafted. And let's be real, when you think of blue blood basketball teams, outside of UCLA back in the day, the weather's not perfect anywhere.
No,
North Carolina's not exactly amazing.
Kansas is amazing.
Get out of here.
he would say
Corn.
that. He would say that.
It's wheat. That's a story for another day.
Yeah, same thing.
So, I mean, I don't think that would have any impact on Kentucky, really. Now, what could set up is if they go full Nelson on it and they're allowed to sign with, they're allowed to sell their jerseys. Because the way Cal is progressive, if the NBA says, or if the college basketball says you can sell whatever you want, as long as it's legal, like, obviously not drugs or anything, you can sell whatever you want merchandise wise. You can autograph, you can put out baseball or basketball cards, you can sell whatever you want. You can sign with Nike, you can sign with Gatorade, you can sign with Adidas, but we're not paying you. Cal's winning that battle. Cal's promoting everybody. Cal's wearing if that happened right now, Cal would be wearing quad A green shoes
Oh yeah.
to help promote. Now, the only bad part that comes with that, and maybe this would actually save it, that if the NCAA would allow that, if the NCAA says you can make money off yourself however you want, but they crack down on the grades,
Ooh.
because what you're going to get,
That's a whole other monster.
because what
right
you're
there.
going to get is Nike's going to be like, wait, I'm paying you $80,000 a year.
And you can't even keep a.
Why are
average.
you studying instead of working out?
Right.
I'm paying you. Gatorade says I'm giving you $50,000 a year. Why are you at study hall instead of working on your jumper? So the NCAA is going to have to do something, because then it doesn't incentivize you to go to school. So I'm okay with the NCAA saying, "Hey, make money off yourself however you want, but got to get them grades. You got to keep them grades up."
And and the NCAA will take their cut. They'll take their 60%.
Well, they always
Like
do.
so, it is what it is. It's raining pretty bad outside.
Do you see that happening though? Like, do you see as far as
No.
NCAA?
No.
Well, so I'm going to answer you the same way I answered a guy that said Kentucky will never. He was a Kentucky fan. He said that Kentucky will never catch UCLA in titles, because then he started basing it off math of the last 60, 70 years. Well, you're thinking maybe not in your lifetime, or maybe not in this decade. So I can't say. The NCAA is going to have to make some huge changes over the next decade if it wants to be still standing on the other side of that decade.
Yeah, because wasn't it? Wow. When was the? It was basically when all the power conferences were pulling teams from the Big East, the MAC, the Mountain West. Like, what year was that? Like 2010 when when that happened.
2009,
So the NCAA about crashed then. Like, they almost imploded like on themselves. And these 5 power conferences were going to take all the teams and make their own league.
Right.
Because the NCAA is so corrupt.
And
it's all about money at the end of the day. So I don't see the NCAA approving this at all, simply because of the fact that their hand isn't in it. They
Well,
aren't
that's fine.
saying, "Hey, I need
But-
20% of this. I need 30% of
But
this."
just like everything else in life, what do you do when somebody who's got deeper pockets than LeVar Ball tries to start a league for 18 to 24-year-olds? When there's somebody that can actually, if the G League does it, if the NBA says the G League is going to start paying $100,000 per player and it's open to 18 to 24-year-olds, what's college basketball do then? Because
then we're back to there being just drafted straight out of high school, at the end of the day.
well, but it would be. But you got, so the thing with that is, in the NBA draft, if you went straight, 20 kids would go straight out of high school, and they would only need 5 of them.
Yeah.
If you're going to do a whole G League, you're probably going to need 30 every year to keep that.
So you were talking about expanding it from the current, I think it's 8 teams.
18.
Yeah, I'm talking full blown. Every team has one.
So 32 teams or whatever it
32
is.
teams,
Or
10 players.
How many
There's
teams
30
are in it?
actually.
30, yeah.
So 30 players, 30 teams, 10 players. So 300 kids every year getting pulled out from. That's now you're taken from the NCAA.
And then
Then they'd have to change. Then they probably would change. Something would
Now,
change.
it's going to take some time because they're going to wait it out. They're going to wait out the G League and say, you can't afford this because of guys like us. We're going to watch anybody in a Kentucky jersey, no matter how good or how bad they are.
Mm-hmm.
But what happens is the television money. Is there enough to keep it around?
That's a good question.
I mean, but look, everybody wins if the NCAA allows this. Because we talked about it on another show, Mike. If you're an 18-year-old kid, would you rather go to college, party it up, be a superstar on campus to however many people go to college, or would you
30,000.
rather live in Fort Wayne or Sioux Falls? Yeah, still making 80 to 100 grand, sure, even at the best case scenario. But you're working all the time. And you don't get the glory life of the NBA.
I like that college life.
I know that college. So the kids, everything sets up for the fans would much rather watch Kentucky, Duke, North Carolina, Kansas, Louisville, West Virginia, Villanova.
The rivalries, yeah.
They would rather watch that than watch the Fort Wayne Mad Ants. And if you allow, if you can go to college and sell $30,000 worth of merchandise a year off your jerseys, where's the rush to go pro?
Right.
That will
See,
that will
now
help
that-
them, yeah.
Why
So-
not?
Right.
And I can tell
That
you,
could curb the
so
whole one and
now
done.
you're NCAA. If I'm the NCAA, this is why I'm so passionate about it. Because if I'm the NCAA, I am begging for this. And the reason I say it, you mean my product can get better because all these freshmen are coming back for sophomore and junior years,
Making some money, making
making
ends
some
meet.
money, so they're in no hurry to leave.
Right.
And now, just like we talked, so let's go back a couple years. Let's go back to that John Wall year. Let's say John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins would have probably left. But let's say Patrick Patterson and Eric Bledsoe and Daniel Orton could have come back because they're making more money here, or maybe they're making more money now. There's a reason, there's incentivized for them to come back to college.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now the next crop of kids don't come to Kentucky because those positions are already filled. So now Brandon Knight probably goes to Florida. Terrence Jones probably goes to Washington. So now Washington and Florida is relevant,
Right.
while Kentucky's still relevant. Duke's still relevant. These one and dones don't. Yeah, your upper echelons, your 1% goes, but your middle class of player comes back.
You are making you're making the league as a whole better,
Better.
from 1
Exactly.
to 64.
Because so now what happens is because you're a college basketball player and you're making $40,000-$50,000 a year, you're willing to stay 4 years.
Right. And if
So
that was
now-
if that was to happen, you think maybe they would expand the tournament field?
No.
You don't think they would?
I mean, that's happening. Hey, that's happening no matter what. I mean, it's just they're going to do whatever they can to make more money off of it.
To get that
and what they
revenue.
try to do is they try to hide it so there's not catching so much flack. I wouldn't be surprised within the next 10 years, if even that, maybe even 5, if there's not, and my math is horrible,
128
but
teams.
I don't think they go there yet, but I think what they do is every bottom half.
Like the 1, 2, 3, 4 have buys.
Yes,
And then
exactly.
and
or
everybody else plays.
maybe even 1 through 8
Yeah.
have buys, and then 9 through 16 or 9 through.
They play
I guess,
that quote unquote play-in round
Exactly.
game. Yeah. Which I love March Madness. I mean, like that's where heroes are. That's where what's his name? Alexander made his name and made it to the NBA. So, I mean,
Well, I mean, he was doing really great in the SEC play. That
Yeah.
SEC play. Actually, I think he, especially that K-State game, he really struggled. And I mean, but yeah, because let's be honest, everybody wants to see upsets. Everybody roots for like everybody was rooting for Loyola Chicago or
Yeah.
whoever it was,
Yeah.
or
Loyola,
UMBC.
yeah.
Everybody was rooting for them for the first 2 weeks.
or when George Washington.
But I
makes it in.
guarantee you, nobody wanted to see UMBC in their championship game.
no.
Villanova
no one picked
versus
that.
Villanova versus UMBC was not what they wanted to see.
They want to see Kentucky, North Carolina, Kentucky,
Right.
Duke,
Kentucky, Duke, Kansas, Kentucky, something like that.
Kansas State.
Kansas State.
Unless Mike Beasley's back.
Hey, if you can
And
stay
what
off
was
the
it- what was
wacky
his
to
name?
backy.
Bill Walker.
Hey, so funny story. So, not to get sidetracked here, but
What we're going to?
we're going to go down this YouTube rabbit hole. So sometimes at work I watch YouTube, and I get stuck in this rabbit hole. And for some reason, Bill Walker was like on my mind. He was playing for the Knicks, like I do believe. Apparently, he had to go to the bathroom. He takes a Gatorade bottle, shoves it up his shorts, and he pees in the Gatorade bottle and gives it to the trainer.
No
Like,
discretion on
like,
these shows.
He didn't.
like,
Just straight up.
what
Doesn't
in the
say-
world?
I
He
mean,
didn't
it couldn't
drink-
have
he
been
didn't
subtle.
drink it, did
There's
he?
no nuance. He just Mike just went straight for it.
Straight
Hey.
to it.
Like there was no he could have easily inferred what happened.
But hey,
But still, that's
he stuck it in a Gatorade bottle and
that's.
peed. And
I mean, heat of the moment, man. And
at Madison Square Garden, like
well, I mean, that's
See, I thought Bill Walker there was a chance he was going to come to Kentucky.
because
he went to
He was a
school-
pretty high recruited.
Well, yeah, and he went to school with Patrick Patterson.
Yeah.
But I think when we went from Tubby to Gillespie,
And well, at that time,
how long ago was this? I'm just kind of hopping on here because my service hasn't been all that good. How long ago was it when James Morris said Duke's already won this title?
about 15 minutes ago.
Because I can't wait till we break down that matchup.
oh yeah.
That matchup, they do not match up well with Kentucky.
Yeah, and James like go cards. I mean, come on, it's a big blue breakdown, son.
He must be a fan of prostitutes. Yeah,
Get that out of here.
he's got to be.
Once again, no subtlety.
He's got to be.
Just heavy-handed.
So-
Comes in heavy-handed with every statement you guys make.
To end this show here, to wrap it up, if Calipari in Kentucky, just from judging from the Bahama games, if we do not win a title, are we upset? Like, are we like, it's time for a change?
All right.
Okay, so we're upset, yes.
Yeah,
But no,
well,
it's
yeah.
not time for a change.
No.
Cal has his life. Cal has a parking pass in his car that says "Do not tow anywhere." The man can park in a fire lane, handicap, inside Rupp Arena on center court.
And no one's going to say a
No
word.
one's going to
to
say a
him.
word. That man is gold.
Right.
Okay,
Absolutely.
so let's say he gets knocked out in the second round.
Gold.
It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
NIT first round
First
loss
round does not
to
matter.
Robert
Does
Morris.
not matter.
Gold.
I mean, these 4 games that we just played, we won by an average of 29 points a game.
Yeah, it doesn't-
And
Something
they
like that.
look
I
like
mean,
a dominant
that's-
team.
yeah.
They
But
look like a
because,
dominant team.
look, we ain't wrapping this show up yet. I still got some passionate stances just because
Say
I've
it.
been holding this in for so long. Everybody of the Kentucky fans that don't like Cal, and they're saying,
Well, I'm sorry. No, hold on. You can't be a Kentucky fan and not like
well,
Cal.
they are
That's-
out there.
Go
They
away
say
if you
I-
are.
They say
They're anti one and done. They want to see the 4-year players.
But they say I miss the old days. Well, why do you miss the old days? I know you don't miss Gillespie and Tubby Smith.
I don't miss Billy Gillespie.
You could say
at
you
all.
miss what Rick Pitino did, but Rick Pitino's and Cal's are very similar.
Mm-hmm.
Multiple Final Fours and 1 national title. Joby Hall, maybe, but Joby Hall struggled in the 80s. I know you're not old enough to remember
the
Adolph
rough
Rupp.
years. Yeah.
So that's my thing. Like, everybody wants to go back to win, though. It's nostalgia. It's like everybody, I remember I tried to play an Paperboy on Super Nintendo. It was lame as could be. I loved it as a kid, but as I tried to play it as an adult, it just wasn't there. Did Mike just shut us off?
No, we're good.
I thought Mike said I'm going to enter the show no matter what. So a couple of points I want to make before we do go, though. I want to ask you a question. I want to ask either one of you a question, because even though you can be a little Kentucky fan, you can be diehard. What would you rather have? From 2010, or I guess 2009, till today. Kentucky's run at basketball? Multiple Final Fours, 1 national championship. We're back. We're relevant. ESPN loves us. We're all over the place. Kentucky's on ESPN or on the SEC network. Duke's on ESPN Plus. You got to pay just to watch them. Kentucky is at its peak. Where they talk about Kentucky basketball all year round on national news, not just KSR, not just WLKY.
Relevant
on
everywhere.
ESPN, we're everywhere.
Everywhere.
But 1 title, I think, 4 Final Fours.
Mm-hmm.
Always relevant. Even when we make the NIT, we're still relevant. Still putting guys in the draft. Never lost. Or what Villanova's done. Villanova has had a lot of second-round bounces.
Yeah.
But they won 2 titles in
Got
3
2
years.
titles. That's the only thing that I see.
With a lot of regular season success.
Yeah.
But, yeah, a lot of. But I
But
think a
look
lot
at-
of that contributes to the league. That
Yeah, I
they're
was
in.
going to say, look at the league they're in.
But so what is more important to you?
I don't. I mean, yeah, it would be nice to have 2 national titles in 3 years. Anybody, any fan would take that. But no, I'd rather have the run we've got. I mean, because Villanova wasn't relevant in college basketball until when?
Well, the 80s. And then
Well, I'm talking about recent.
But even then, I mean, don't take away. Jay Wright kept them relevant probably when Kentucky stopped being relevant with Tubby and Gillespie. Jay Wright was doing some good things in the Big East. I don't want to take that away.
But put me in a room with 50 people. Put yourself in a room with 50 people that say they're sports fans. And you say, hey, have you heard of Kentucky basketball or Villanova? Most of the people in there will be like, oh, yeah, I've heard Kentucky. Who hasn't? Right. But who's going to raise their hand and say, oh, I'm Villa what?
So what about you, Mike? What's more important?
Coming
success?
from a mediocre fan base, such as myself, that we're happy just to make it to the tournament, happy to be 600 team. I like regular season success. I like being ranked in the top 25. It brings a certain type of pride to your team, to your atmosphere, to your town. Like, if you look at, like, when you're looking at the ESPN sports tickers, ranked number 10, Kentucky. It's like, damn, that's my school, you know? I mean, usually we don't remember we get knocked out in the second round or the third round. We remember if we make it to the Final Four like that year. And so, coming from a mediocre fan base from Kansas State Wildcats, like I say, mediocre fan base, like a mediocre team, we're happy being 500. Like, I want regular season success, like the Villanovas. You know, what, they're 30-1 or 32-1 or whatever it is. You know, on a consistent basis. Like, I'll take that consistently over what UK has.
Well, and there's a lot of success to people who think titles mean everything. And because, like UConn, for example, UConn's made the tournament 3 times in the past 8 years, won 2 titles.
Right.
And I think it's people. I would rather, if in 10 years, if you could give me, let's take it up a little notch. If you give me 10 years,
right,
4 titles, and 6 missed tournaments, or 10 years, 8 Final Fours, and 2 titles, I'm still taking those 2 titles.
Yeah.
Because that 8 years of Final Four runs is going to be just as fun. I mean, it's going to come with some heartbreak.
Yeah, it's going to suck.
I mean, if you kind of step back and look at it, people measure success on making it to the Final Four. Like, you almost have more of a parade making it to the Final Four than winning the national championship.
And that's the kind of expectations that I know Kentucky fans have. I mean, because I've talked to many people, and they're like, "Oh, well, if we don't go undefeated, it's a crap season.
Yeah,
like, why did we even play?"
Well,
you've got to get that out of your head.
Well, me personally, I'd rather lose in the Final Four than lose in the championship game. Because you still, it all still remembers the same.
Yep.
And it's a little less painful, I think. I think it's a little less painful to know that one game's happening than to know that you already made it all the way there and didn't succeed. Now, another point that I've been thinking. I want your opinion on this. So Kentucky in 2014 made the championship game, lost to UConn. In 2015, they went 38-0, lost to Wisconsin. I personally believe had Kentucky beat UConn in 2014, we win it in 15. And the reason I say that,
you see us going undefeated in 15?
No, we do not. We struggle. We probably lose 4 games. But what you have, we win in 2014. Trophies are up. Everybody's celebrating. The Harrison twins, gone. Willie Cauley-Stein, gone. Alex Poitras, meh.
Iffy.
Maybe iffy, either way. But what you get is you get another young team. You get a team that Kentucky's going to gripe about that probably lost. We don't beat UCLA and Kansas as bad. I still think we get a win. We probably lose to Ole Miss. We probably lose to Georgia. We probably lose another conference game somewhere in there. But when March rolls around, you have a Tyler Ulis that is used to playing 38 minutes a game. You have a Devin Booker that gets to get a rhythm. So that one good month he had, he's averaging 30 a game. You get a Karl Anthony Towns that gets to get in a rhythm. So, yes, we probably lose some regular season game, but when we're playing Wisconsin in the Final Four,
we're winning.
We got a smart Tyler Ulis who is ready. We have a Devin Booker that can probably put up 40. I'm so confident in that. Devin Booker might have the best tournament run in one of the best in NCAA history because there's no platoon. He just gets to come out there. I bet he averages 35 to 40 a game. Something ungodly. Just because we see him do it in the NBA. Imagine he developed that. Karl Anthony Towns, when I watch him do what he can do in 40, 45 minutes in the NBA, I'm thinking what would he have done with 35, 38 minutes in college opposed to 21 of what he averaged. I think if we win in 14, we struggle more in 15, which, I mean, one loss is struggling more, but we lose a couple regular season games, still win the title, because I think that 3 is prepared. Oh, and I forgot, Trey Lyles, Mr. Fundamental. They're supposed to be the next Tim Duncan. He gets to get in a rhythm. So now you might have your starting lineup probably looks like Tyler Ulis at point, Devin at the 2, Alex at the 3, Trey at the 4, Cat at the 5, Marcus Lee, and maybe he recruits another guard. Maybe he gets, I think maybe he goes after Justin Blackman, who went to IU a little harder. Rashad Vaughn, who went to UNLV. Maybe that's that kind of guy that comes off the bench. He's back to a solid 7, but man, those 3, they're studs. You buy into that?
I could see it happening. Absolutely.
Good.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I mean those 5 guys. I mean that's. Now I really want to see this team play.
And, well, anything to add to that, Mike? Or
No.
okay, well,
That was a little before my UK time, so
okay, understandable.
You kind of talked over my head a little bit.
So now, just not to sound like your typical UK fan, I'd like to end the show real quick with a little bit of football thoughts.
Do it.
Okay.
So I was watching KSR or listening to KSR earlier, and I guess it was kind of a source had mentioned that if a football game was played tomorrow, Gunnar Hoke would be the quarterback. I am oddly disappointed by this.
Well, the only thing he has over the touchdown Terry. He's been in that offense for a couple years now.
Right, and that was what they talked about because Ed Graham, when he was at is that the offensive coordinator?
Offensive
coordinator. When he was at Cincinnati, recruited Gunnar Hoke.
Yep.
So now that he's at Kentucky, he gets to play with him. I guess the reason I'm disappointed isn't Gunnar Hoke himself. It's that I thought, quote-unquote, touchdown Terry was substantially better.
Right.
And I've always said if Kentucky football is going to jump on the map real quick, we need one of those transfer quarterbacks.
Right. That immediate.
Cam Newton, Jeremiah Masoli, Russell Wilson. K-State had a guy. Who was he? He was big number 12. He was a white
Roberson.
guy.
Oh, white guy, big number 12.
Yeah, it was about the same. It was about 2000.
I mean, look at Michigan.
10.
Look at Shea Patterson this year.
Right, quarterbacks who come in.
Colin Klein was his name.
Yeah, yes, solid guy. Almost looked like a Tebow light, didn't he?
Yeah.
So guys who come in instantly and put a team on the map. I was hoping that would be touchdown Terry.
Right.
And look, Gunnar Hoke may be nice. But it kind of brings it back down to reality. And I've already said, I think they're going 7-5 anyway. I thought touchdown Terry coming out and being like a Russell Wilson when he went to Wisconsin, being like a Jeremiah Masoli when he went to Ole Miss, could come out there and win you a couple more games and get you over that. And, yeah, I'm not convinced that either of these guys are going to be a passing hero. But I thought with Benny Snell running the ball, if he could make some Jeremiah Masoli, Cam Newton-style plays, and I'm speaking Cam Newton when he came into Auburn and you was like, what did he do at Blinn College? Not the Cam Newton that we all saw develop. When he came in, he could have easily been a bust. He could have easily been a dud, and he wasn't. That's what I was hoping for, is to get that guy who was good, got in trouble, and now gets to be good again. Or maybe not get in trouble, maybe struggled something, whether it be mentally, physically, injury. Maybe he did get in a little bit of trouble. I don't want that that in the locker room. Mm-hmm. But I'm a little disappointed in this. What's your thoughts on that?
No, man, I agree with you there. I've watched some practice film of both these guys, and both these guys have really good arms. Really, really good arms. I don't see, as far as that goes, I don't see a clear-cut winner so far. I mean, like Gunner, the only thing he has over Terry is that he has been in that offense for a few years now. So he probably knows that playbook front to back, could recite it in his sleep. That is the only thing I see this guy having over Terry. I would love to see Terry come in because he to me, he seems like he is that kind of player that's going to come in and like with Benny in the backfield. I mean, this offense could become extremely prolific.
That's my concern with Gunnar Hoke. Is not that he's not good, just that he specializes,
right?
If you will. He's a pocket guy. So if he's struggling, if they're getting pressure, this is what I think Drew Barker's downside was. If those passes are being dropped, or if they're not on point, or if that pocket's collapsing, you're done.
Yep.
You've put all your eggs into that basket.
Yep.
Steven Johnson, touchdown Terry, whatever you want to call him. Maybe he can whiz a crazy pass down the field to a wide open guy. Maybe he can scramble out of something and make a play. Maybe with Benny pounding the rock, that keeper that Steven Johnson made look so good is beneficial again.
That opens up a lot.
I'm just concerned. Like I said, but obviously it's still close. It could change any time now.
Well, let me give you a coach's perspective here. If the players are equal in skill level, say like they're both neck and neck, you always go with the younger guy because he has more room to grow.
But aren't they both about the same age? Gunnar Hoke's been here a couple seasons.
He's been there 3.
So I mean, they're both the same.
this
And
will
I
be
think
his third.
Terry's still a junior.
A junior.
So I mean, I think they're both juniors. Then do you go to the guy that's been in that system longer?
Yeah, I mean, like if they're the same age, you go with the veteran. Like at the end of the day, so coming from a coach's point of view,
No,
yeah.
I get it, and I guess I said, and like I said, if I had to make that choice, if these were just resumes or these were just two random guys,
yeah,
I would probably make the same. But I guess just as a fan, I put more into the touchdown Terry.
just because of
Right.
just because of his name.
Well,
I mean,
no.
the hype,
But
yeah.
just because of the hype,
I think the
and
hype,
like I
yeah.
said,
Yeah.
I always expected if we ever got good overnight, it would be
that type
It would
of
be
player.
a diamond in the rough
Right.
transfer quarterback.
Right.
It wouldn't be a receiver. It wouldn't be a running back. It wouldn't even be a defender.
Yeah, I
Because
mean,
we've had
we would
guys
have
like
to
that.
find that one recruit. I mean, who was that guy? Ohio State recruited him. Tate Martell. He was supposed to be the next, like Tim Tebow, Johnny Manziel, whatever. Committed to Ohio State, got in trouble, and supposedly was supposed to come to Kentucky. Never played a snap. But he was like that. I remember when he first decommitted from Ohio State and announced that he was going to come to Kentucky, everybody was all excited. The hype was real. Everyone was super excited. He never played a snap. Now, what happens if Touchdown Terry comes in, first snap of the game, comes out, breaks his leg? I mean, then what?
Don't you put that voodoo on me, Ricky
I'm not
Bobby.
trying to, but I'm just saying
Well, I know.
realistically.
I'm just saying.
the choice could not be. We couldn't make the choice, or the coaches could not even make the choice. It could be made for them.
Realistically, looking at it, if they're both neck and neck, you wouldn't take a step back because then you would come in with a veteran quarterback,
Yeah.
quote unquote.
If they're that close,
They
yeah.
would probably even take a step forward because of that leadership that he has, saying, "Hey guys, I got this."
Okay, well, let's say Terry doesn't know the playbook as well.
Yeah.
Doesn't read as well. His receivers as well. But athletically is a far better athlete than Gunner is. Who do you put in?
I still say you go Terry just because in the SEC it's about making play.
Yeah.
You got to be able to make a play, and if
You-
it's that close, I mean, if you got a guy like the dude the Fromm kid down in Georgia who is carving people up like it's Thanksgiving, then yeah, you go to that guy. But if one guy can read better but can't really make the passes, and the other guy can't read a lick, because I don't,
But
I
can
don't-
run.
But I don't know because I don't know how complex the Steven Johnson playbook was. A lot of it was he only really ran a couple kind of plays. It was the read option and the RPO. He had an opportunity to dump it off to his wide open tight end. So I don't think that playbook was exactly complex. So I think his will to win and his athleticism got a lot of that done. And if they're neck and neck, I got to go athleticism.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll find out 3 weeks. was like 20 days or 19 days away.
Yeah,
Something like
20-ish, something
18,
like that.
19.
Well, any closing thoughts? Guys got anything?
I gave you my closing thoughts.
Basketball season's 2 months away.
Yeah, 2
November
months away.
6th.
Football season's 19 days
Yeah.
away.
I mean, it's a great time to be a Kentucky fan.
It's
right
getting
now.
exciting.
It's, yeah, absolutely, it sure is.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining us with Big Blue Nation. If you're watching us on YouTube, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. If you're watching us on the Cross Sports Network page, we're not there every week. We're just kind of giving you guys a little preview of what is to happen on the YouTube page. If you're listen to us on Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, Breaker, Stitcher, etc., follow that. Give it a ranking, 5 stars or else. Other than that, we're out.
All right, take it easy.
Let her go.
Ho, 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 ho.